All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on a Wednesday, July 26, 2023. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button if you like these videos. Make sure to comment your questions and make sure to turn on, subscribe to our channel and make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. I will do a video after the bell. It will be recorded. I'll do a recorded video talking about the Fed. It'll be a quick recap on exactly what's happening. Not a live or anything. It'll just be a recorded video. Let's go ahead and get started. Dow futures down about 101 points. We did get some earnings yesterday and this morning. In terms of price action, we're basically at the same place we were yesterday morning at 9 a.m. or 8:30 in the morning or 8 in the morning. So can't really say anything too much in regards to this price action, but we'll go around the horn anyways. Good morning. Good morning. Yep, we're going to go over Google, Zoom Balloon. We're going to go over all these names rather quickly. NASDAQ down about 0.35%. Again, back to same levels we haven't seen since 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. on yesterday, Tuesday. S&P 500 down about 10.75%, down about 0.23%. The Russell is flat, 1975, down about 0.09%. 10-year Treasury yields ahead of the Fed, down 3.865. Interesting. Dollar index down as well, 101.20, down about 0.14%. Volatility index up 2%, up 1416, excuse me. Crude oil, we did catch our crude oil long yesterday, 78.79. We hit it twice this week. Let me go ahead and bring up the futures chat. Futures, here we go. Yeah, we got crude yesterday and we got Dow yesterday. So we did catch the Dow for 50 points since it pulled back. We got as high as 130 points, but at least we locked into something. But crude oil, again, we got in at 79.24. We got out for about 30 points at 79.58. We got as high as, what, 50 points on crude oil? Again, two of them in a row. I'll take it. You know, kind of a little bit of base hits, nothing crazy in terms of swing, but pulling back about 1% this morning. Gasoline futures are up $2.81, 1972 for gold futures. That's helped with the dollar. 24.75 for silver. 3.88 for the copper futures, down 0.84%. Let's take a look here at euro dollar. That's up about 13 pips, 110.69. Dollar yen, 140.26, down about 69 pips. Pound dollar, 129.06, up about 5 pips. Bitcoin futures are up 29.235, and Ethereum is flat at 18.55. So let's go over a couple things this morning. We did have our earnings yesterday in terms of Alphabet, Visa, Snapchat, Microsoft as well. So what I'm going to do is just chart all of these guys. You want to see the earnings? Go take a look at our Twitter, go take a look at our threads, or take a look at our Discord. We have it all up. But again, we're just going to focus on the price action right now because that's all that matters. Let's go and take a look here at Microsoft first. So we're trading now at 338.70. So let's go ahead and take a look here. See, we have a gap to fill here at 332.91. That is at the 50-day moving average. We have not been below the 50-day moving average on Microsoft since March. And again, we talked about that yesterday regarding the 50-day moving average on S&P and the NASDAQ as a possible level for a pullback, and take a look at buying the dip. That's what we're looking for. Probably the lowest level we'll get as we pull into the summer. If we're looking for kind of an August swoon or August pullback, if you remember in August of 2022, we actually had a big move higher. So it's not like August has to be red. But again, if we get a pullback, the target is the 50-day. And again, 338.75 on Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft had a bad quarter. They beat across the board, but they did lose a little bit in terms of the cloud. So Microsoft's loss was Google's gain, because Google actually gained market share in terms of cloud technology and cloud revenue. So 332.91, that's your gap to fill on Microsoft. You're trading at 338. That gets you right around here. That's below the 20. Tough to trade short, especially ahead of the FOMC, but we know our target of 332.91 is right there. We don't have to get there today, but if we get some volatility with the Fed, that's probably the target you're looking for. And again, if we tag that, we more than likely will take a look at some calls. We'll take a look at maybe the 335 to 340 call strikes on Microsoft, as again, It's a great company, had a great call, but it seems that it just looks like profit taking in terms of Microsoft, and there really isn't anything bearish about this chart as we can see on the daily. Let's take a look at Google this morning. I'll just put GOOG because that's the one I trade. We're trading at 130.79. If you guys remember, I had an alert at 129.56. That's going to break this morning, or at least tag it, so I took it off. We do have a gap to fill at 133.72. So I really like Google here, but I want to see how it opens, and I want to see with the Fed as well. So we're going to keep Google in our back pocket after we get out of this Federal Reserve rate hike. The expectation is 25 basis points today. More likely, we're probably going to get that. If we don't, and we get, a pause or no raise, we're probably going to get a short squeeze a lot higher, and we're probably going to miss it. So to the upside, so it'll be tough to trade. And then you also have another gap to fill here on Google. Again, Google had price upgrades across the board. Really, the level that we're looking to break is 133.72, and then you're a stone's throw away from all-time highs, right around $20 away. That really isn't too far on Google. Google's a great company to own. I own it. So let's see if we get a little continuation higher. How do you set up entries? Well, there's no real rhyme in terms of setting up entries. Sometimes you have great entries, sometimes you have bad entries. Again, it really depends on the price action. You just have to go by your alerts and then just get in. There's no perfect entry, and there's perfect exits, obviously, hindsight. But perfect entries, that's within a couple of pennies, couple of cents, depending if you can get a fill. Sometimes Robinhood doesn't fill you, and that's what happens. So I can't really give you a magic pill on how do you set up entries. The best thing you can do is set up your alerts. Once your alert hits, you go take a look at the volume, see if that actually backs up the chart, upside or downside, and then you fill and go forward. Do you still think Target will hit 120 a share or is it a buy now? Target was actually double downgraded, but it's still hovering, and that's kind of annoying. So I still want to get 120. Maybe we get a hawkish Fed today. Maybe the Target pulls back. Maybe they have bad earnings coming up soon. We will see. Their last earnings was in February. We are due for earnings on Target, I want to say, in a couple of weeks in August. So that'll give us a chance to see what Target does. If we get to 120, that's what I'm looking for. But it seems to me that we're just kind of hovering around 130. Now, again, listen, if you don't care about 10 bucks, that's fine. I just think I want to wait for the earnings and see if their guidance is going to be okay in terms of Target. That's really all I want to see. The last thing I want is I buy a 120 and then they cut their dividend and they fall a little more and I could have gotten a better price. That's really the only thing I want to keep an eye on in regards to Target. Best way to execute fast. Do you have hotkeys? Nope. I use the phone. I use my phone to fill, not the computer. For some reason, really since I started on TOS about 9 years ago, it's always been the phone for execution and the computer for charts. Weird, I know, but there's sometimes the computer freezes or sometimes the computer has issues. So again, I personally like to fill on the phone. I still like control. There is no EMA when it comes to shorting. No. I look at the 20-day moving average, and usually if we're below that, that seems to be a momentum to the downside if you break below, and inversely higher up, breaking to the upside. So we had Google already. So we talked about Google. We talked about Microsoft. Boeing also reported earnings. They're up. Finally cracked that 219 level. We've been trading this for a while. Let's go to the daily. And again, we want 223.91. Again, that will break the June highs. And if it does, we'll target 230 moving forward. About a $7 move on Boeing. Earnings are done. We will see what we get. Did we fill this gap here? Very close to 234.34. That gap has not filled. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and just break it down here. Let me see if I can get this here. Oh, here we go. I'm going to spread it out a little wider. And again, we did not fill, pretty close, but we did not fill, but that would be my next target, 234.35 on good old Boeing. And Boeing is starting to push higher again. This could reverse. Again, you can see 221.78. We could pull back. We've been stuck in this chop range since December, guys. And it has been a very tough one to trade it. So we will see moving forward. I expect us to finally break out. 234.35 is my target. Good morning, Carlos. What to do with NVIDIA? What are you looking for? What am I looking for? NVIDIA, not much to do here. Needs some kind of movement. I mean, sure, you could target all-time highs, but ahead with the Fed, you're really not doing much here on NVIDIA. So you're really just waiting it out. If it breaks 480, fine. That is the new all-time high. But other than that, not much going. AMD, similar situation. I believe AMD reports next week. So again, we're still below the 20-day moving average on AMD. Really just chopped zone, not much to do here. If we start breaking above 116, we have traded that before rather quickly on AMD, and we had a nice trade. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. If we break 116, then we'll see if we have a little more upside room for AMD. I like AMD to trade more than NVIDIA. A, it's cheaper, and B, I've been trading it in terms of recently a little better price action. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning, Benjamin. What do you think about RTX? I have some 85 calls for August 18th. RTX in terms of options, I didn't see the options volume, but it doesn't move. That's the only problem. But you have the 85 calls, you should be in the money. So again, you should be green, depending on where you bought it. So if we go to the daily, we could see this big drop here. You do have a huge gap to fill, but again, it really depends on the time and really the demand. So you have about August 18th, about a couple of weeks to see if you can get to 85. You're already in the money. Now the question is demand. So if you start getting above 88, 890, yeah, RTX is going to work out for you. Again, only if people are going to play that option all the way to the gap fill to 96, which could definitely happen. We hit some support here at 81. I got asked about that on Investment Club, and I said the same thing. Buying here, you're really just trading about 20% upside, which is not bad, but I'd rather just trade the option than own RTX in full. I said around 81 is not a bad support if you're trying to play that here on the daily. If you take a look at the weekly on RTX, it bounced right off the 200-week moving average, very similarly to the S&P 500 200-week moving average in October, where we caught the bottom. Excuse me. Let's take a look at Disney. And Disney with the writer strikes and all that jazz. Pain in the ass, we know. 84.07, that's the support. That's what we're looking for. We have the Fed today. We're about $1 and, 63 cents away. We just got to see what we get on Disney, but there's nothing to trade here. Last time I tried to short Disney on puts, I got burned. It popped higher, so there you go. I'm not touching that short. Spotify puts. Let's see it. Spotify, which I love music, and I listen to Spotify pretty much every day. Problem is that now we're starting to break down. Now we have a gap to fill right here at 104.95. I didn't read the conference call, to be honest, so I have to kind of read about their guidance and see if it was really that bad. But you could see 180 to 140 in a blink of an eye. That's pretty big. Now we're breaking down below the 100-day moving average. Could we get a little more downside? Well, that really is dependent on the Fed and see how the reaction is. In terms of support, I have 128.56. If 128.56 breaks, then we could short here to this gap fill around 102. That's pretty much the best we can do. As you can see, that was the high from August. This is the high from February. And again, it seems to be that since we broke out of that, we've been contracting higher. Maybe a retest and a bounce, maybe a retest and a break. Just depends on Spotify. Not a ton of volume all the time either. Remember, guys, like 80% of the options market is like moved by 10 stocks. Most of it are mega cap tech. So again, when guys say, "Well, I'm in the money on Johnson & Johnson," Johnson & Johnson does not move in the options market. Great company, but just doesn't move in the options market. So it seems to be the best way to focus on is kind of the big names in the Qs. Some large industrial names, kind of the biggest of each sector is really the only way you can trade options on those names. If not, you're just swing trading, meaning you're buying the stock and you're just swinging it. Apple, break above 195 for a call. I do have calls already on Apple. The level I'm breaking is 194.31. And again, we keep tagging it and it's just chop, which sucks because we got in last week, got in on this pop looking for continuation. And all it did was revert and stay and stay and stay. So again, it seems to be we're just kind of loading up energy for some kind of move, up or down. I say we're going to go higher. I think after the Fed today, we're going to go higher as well. It seems to me that the market is so ready to short that we just keep melting higher. And it seems like, well, what can you do? And it's very inversely in 2022 when everyone was ready to buy, right? Everyone was ready. March, then you had May, and then you had June, and you had August, that false breakout, same thing. Everyone was so ready to buy. And then October, really when everyone threw the towel in, that's when you saw a bottom. I think we'll hit a top in the S&P when the bears actually throw in the towel and say, okay, enough. Now, Mike Wilson of Morgan Stanley did say that, we were wrong. you know, the market was resilient. We didn't think AI was going to be that great or that much of a mover. But again, we still have a lot of bears out there, a lot of people who want to short. So we need those guys to quit and to throw in the towel, and that'll indicate at least a short-term top, more than likely the all-time highs. Why not? I think it'll be very difficult to hold on to your or carry your puts or carry your shorts when the S&P is at all-time highs, which we are actually pretty damn close to it. We could see here on S&P 500, we're at 45.84. We tapped 4,600 yesterday. That's 200 points away. 200 points is not exactly crazy. That's only 4% from the levels that we closed in yesterday. We're 4% away from all-time highs, and it's not even August yet. Interesting. Netflix, please. Let's see it. Netflix just hanging on, just hanging around. You could see nothing but chop. A lot of these names are just chopping, other than Google and Microsoft, right? But Apple, Amazon, there was some news regarding Amazon regarding a breakup of their company with the FTC. That's just an investigation. We did break below the 20. We did break below this channel here on Netflix. Netflix should pull back to this gap fill up 409.57, but it's just choppy. It's just not much to do there. So we just got to see what we get in terms of Netflix. Hell, even Netflix has an upside gap here at 470.07. So if we break out above 441.08, that's the 20-day moving average, then I would play the gap fill here at 470.07 with earnings all done. The Fed is done, and that's it. BABA, yes, good old BABA, which pisses me off sometimes, but let's take a look at it. BABA, yesterday, if you guys were trading it, we got to 98.50. I had the 100 calls. 98.50 based on the entry of around 95 is where we got in, 95 or so. This is the break. I think we got in right here around 96, 95 right beforehand. We got to 98.50 right in the morning. For about 5 to 8 minutes, BABA's options were frozen. There was no bid, there was no ask, there was no movement whatsoever. And I had it on both TOS and Robinhood. And what happened? As those options were frozen, the stock started continuing down. Couldn't do anything. We were completely locked out. And that was everyone. The options were not moving. What happened? It just chopped. Sometimes it just rains, guys. If you remember my video about 2.5 weeks ago, where I talked about it just happens, you know, rigged or not, it just happens. Sometimes you can prepare your crop in your farm, for example. You do all the right things. You plow, you fertilize, you put the seeds in and everything. We just hails. It just happens. And you're just like scratching your head like, what the hell? I did my research. We have the breakout. We have the volume. And we were right, 98.50. That was the target, 30%. We're done. Move on with your day. And then it pulls back without even getting an opportunity to even close. Absolutely heartbreaking, but the week is not over. But again, it is heartbreaking and it's happened. And the perfect example of that is JPM last week. If you guys remember, we played JPM. We caught it on Monday. But JPM last week, we got 30%, I believe on Wednesday. You got that break of 156 and then we pulled back. Or I think it was 154 and we pulled back or something. And we chopped around and I was so upset. I was like, damn, I had 30%. I didn't close it. Thankfully, we did, and we kept the actual analysis in play. We got as high as 85% on JPM. Yes, it chopped in now, but we got out. But again, we had the 160 calls, and we got to 158. So well done on JPM. It just takes a little bit of patience, guys. I know sometimes you want to pull your hair watching these charts, but that's what happened with BABA. I also got into UPS yesterday. Some more members got in, got out, thankfully. So I had 2 trades. I got in the 182.50s. And I got 137% full position on my TOS. And then I didn't close it because I was tracking the actual signal for the team. We got as high as 192.98. 41%. Literally was typing it on Discord. Typing 41%. Close here, leave a runner. It tanks immediately. And again, you would think good news that we got the union and Teamsters Union and UPS to come to an agreement. There's not going to be any kind of strikes, no delays, nothing. And that's what happens. It just hailed again. It sucks. I'm still holding it. The premiums got absolutely murdered, which really sucks. But at least some people got it. We still have a gap to fill at 194.72. I know. But it has worked with Caterpillar. It's worked with Goldman Sachs. These names, again, the value names, UPS is a transport. Again, these names tend to fill these gaps, at least on the daily short term. And that's where I'm going to keep going. I'm going to see what we get. We bounced perfectly off the 20-day moving average. So I think UPS gets a little more room. Let's see what the Fed does for us. Hey, Carlos, what's a good price to buy Amazon initial investment? If you are someone that wants to snipe a perfect entry on Amazon, you're not there yet. You kind of want to get to around 125. We're at 126.84. If you asked me, hey, the perfect price for Amazon would be 105. That's your 200-day right there. I think 105 is perfect. I think Amazon's great long-term to own, so it really doesn't matter. The best answer I can give you, Uzel, is to dollar cost average. Buy a little today, buy a little tomorrow or next day, and then just do it every other week or every month. And then eventually, with the market going like this, up and down, you're going to get a good price regardless. So remember, as we know, as we have seen, let's take a look here. As we have seen in terms of the stock market, look at this. We are 4% away from all-time highs, right? 4.77%. Remember this. This was October. Guys, you need to stay invested. It's not timing the market. Unless you're trading, different story. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. Time in the market. So again, if you sold all your stocks at the bottom in October, you're pretty much probably pissed off now. The good news is that mistakes happen. And some people need the money. That's completely fine. It's not a competition between anyone. This is your portfolio. If you needed the money in October since we hit the lows, for example, and you had to sell, fine. Guess what? There's always another bus. There's always opportunities out there. The market is not going to go anywhere. It's not going away. So take your time. Do not have FOMO here. Again, I know we're close to all-time highs. I know I've been saying that we're going to get there. But take your time. Right now, I think the best RR seems to be trading, because short term, you get those profits and you use those profits to buy shares if that's what you want. But if you're looking to buy stocks, especially like an Amazon, which is good to hold in any core portfolio, example, the S&P 500 SPY has Amazon in it, you'd rather just dollar cost average over time. Try not to time it. But if you ask me best time to buy it, I think 125 to 120 isn't a bad level. I would love $100 a share, but that's probably not going to happen. What are your 10 best stocks to trade options on? I'll put that list. Just go ahead and type that on the comment section because I am running out of time, Joey. Comment that and I'll answer the question there. Walgreens, please. Yes, Walgreens Boots Alliance. And we're running out of time. That's when you know you're busy. Got everyone here today. Wow, 50 viewers live. How amazing. Thank you guys for following. We do have a gap to fill here at 31.15 on WBA. We're above the 20 and above the 50. 30.70, that's your next target. 31.16. Would I trade options on it? Not really. I like Walgreens. I do like CVS in terms of shopping, but in terms of actual stock, they've been underperforming. But hold it long term? Sure. I just think we're going to get to 31.16. Not exactly a huge call. It's just a gap fill. Thoughts on Tesla, bear or bullish? Personally, I am bullish Tesla. I think Tesla goes higher. Personally, I actually want to buy a Tesla. I think their cars are amazing. I just haven't driven one yet, so I'm still on the fence of buying a Tesla. But I do like the stock. I own the stock. I've owned the stock for a while now. Yes, I am bullish on Tesla, depending on your time frame. If you're someone that says, what about tomorrow? I mean, tomorrow we are below the 20. Maybe we target 247 for the more downside. But other than that, it's really just chopping around. Not much going on Tesla since the drop of the earnings, and we have a 288 gap to fill to the upside. That's probably where we're going to go on Tesla. You're welcome, guys. Let's go Team Gary. That's right. Would you say that there will be a rotation out of tech into banks and consumer staples? We just had that on Monday with oil going up and banks going up. Wells Fargo also reported that they're increasing their dividend and doing more buybacks. So again, that may add a couple of bids in terms of the banks. But in terms of the market rotation, I think just this really day by day. And right now we just have the Fed at 2:30 or 2 o'clock and then 2:30. So again, I would expect pretty much a holding pattern until that time. I don't expect a ton of action, but I do want to show you this rather quickly. Here is the last times we had the Fed Reserve meetings. In May, we fell 0.70% same day. In March, we fell 1.65% same day. February, we gained 1%. December we lost some points. November we lost some points. In September we lost some points. Before that, all those stock every day the S&P was up. So kind of back and forth on exactly what to predict. We don't know. I treat it like earnings. The only thing I can say is that I know we're going to raise 25 basis points. That's my expectation. But the reaction from the market is something I have zero control over. So we just have to wait until we get there, guys. Don't buy a Tesla. All those EMF will fry me. EMF waves. Listen, man, everything kills you these days. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the healthiest man on the planet. I love to have a couple of drinks here and there. I like to partake in smoking some cigars and other things. So if EMF waves are the worst thing about Tesla, boy, I got a lot more problems than that. So I just like the car. And again, I'm going to test drive it in the future. But again, in terms of health, guys, I'm not the healthiest guy on the planet. I drink a lot of caffeine in the morning, and I'm always working, and I don't get a ton of sleep. Not the best, but this is the sacrifice sometimes you got to do in order to do what we do, which is day trading. You don't have to, but I do it so you guys don't have to. I get you guys the news, and I stay up late. Shout out to Nick. The guy stayed up till 3 in the morning getting all the information for the blog. Mr. Night Owl himself. So a big shout out to Nick doing his thing. I'm more the morning shift, excuse me. So I will catch you guys later for the morning note tomorrow. And I also do the recorded video talking about the Fed later today. That will be posted for you guys after the bell. Well, let's say around 5 p.m. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy, and we'll see you then. Cheers.